10th Standard Social Science, 3 and 4 most questions from Political Science. What are your suggestions to improve the status of women? The government has started Women and Child Development Department in order to develop women's education and status. The government seeks to improve the status, health and education of women. Many programs have been implemented to curb child marriage system. Dowry Prohibition Act, compulsory education are implemented. The government of Karnataka has implemented Stree Shakti program. Women Commission have been established at national and state level. Attempts are made to provide reservation at state and national legislative bodies. Women reservation has already been given at local bodies. Women reservation also provided in government recruitment. What are the measures taken to curb corruption? Lokpal and Lokayukta, education institution can take a lead in this direction. Installing CCTV cameras in government offices, awarding harsh punishment for corrupt officials, increasing the number of courts and judges can also rein in corruption. Strong public ethics and morality, personal commitment, political will, public support, ethical political leadership, good officers, politically aware and educated public. What measures are suggested to eradicate communalism? Uniform civil code, equality among all the citizens, supporting secular values in the society, transcending narrow thoughts in favor of national interests. Attempts should be made to foster the faith of all people, develop healthy national thoughts, that citizens should commit themselves for a secular society. What is unemployment? What are the reasons for unemployment? Unemployment is a situation where a person does not find work in accordance to his capacity or qualification. The reasons for unemployment: huge population, improved technology, shortage of natural resources, over dependency of agriculture, ruined cottage industries, lack of skill-based education. What are the factors involved in a network of corruption? Tax evasion, illegal hoarding, smuggling, economic offences, cheating, violation of international exchange, employment cheating. What are the aims of India's foreign policy? National security, enriching national economy, spreading the cultural richness of our country in other countries by increasing the number of friendly countries and check the power of enemy countries, achieving world peace and coexistence. What are the Panchasheela principles? Respecting each other's sovereignty and regional interests, non-invasion of each other, non-interference in each other's internal issues, mutual cooperation and respect, peaceful coexistence. What are the basic aspects of India's foreign policy? Panchasheela principles, non-aligned movement, anti-imperialism, anti-apartheid policy, disarmament. India has been considered as one of the major countries of the world. Why? Huge population, natural resources, military power, intellectual and industrialized capacities. The foreign policy of India is also called as foreign policy of Nehru. Why? Jawaharlal Nehru managed the foreign policies of India as an external affairs minister, apart from being the prime minister as well. Mention the factors which influenced and shaped India's foreign policy. National interest, geographical interest, political situation, economic interest, military issues, public opinion, international situation. Explain the mutual cooperation that exists between India and USA. The relationship between both the countries have found a few major shifts ever since 1947. During the bipolar world of Cold War era, India had maintained equal distance between Russia and USA with non-aligned policy. USA has supported a lot to India's 5-year plans. USA has extended support during Indo-China War. Later, the political leaders of USA extended their support to Pakistan during the war between India and Pakistan. Many times, the foreign policy of USA has been anti-Indian and pro-Pakistan. Interestingly, both India and USA have shared interest in controlling terrorism. India enjoys better relationship with USA in the fields of foreign trade, science, technology, space science, education and other areas of mutual interest. Both the countries share mutual responsibility, strengthening UNO and maintenance of global peace. India keeps observing the policy shift in the two parties of USA, Democratic and Republican parties, and adjust its policies in accordance to it. Explain the relationship between India and Russia. India has cordial relationship with Russia. Even though India followed non-aligned policy, it had good relationship with Russia in the field of economics, politics and other areas. USSR had opposed China's invasion of India in 1962. During the Goa liberation in 1961, USSR had supported India at UNO. USSR had supported the Tashkent Agreement between India and Pakistan. India and USSR signed an agreement of 20 years for peace and cooperation. USSR had supported for the establishment of Bhilai, Bokaro steel plants. India has taken major support from Russia to improve its industries and technology. Russia has extended support to India's quest for permanent seat in the UN Security Council. Explain the relationship between India and Pakistan. India and Pakistan are the neighboring countries. Pakistan is not only a neighboring country but was an integral part of India during the pre-independent period. But after the India Independent Act of 1947, both the countries became independent sovereign countries. Soon after independence, foreign relationship between both the countries started. Their issues like terrorism, Jammu and Kashmir issue and water sharing dispute are there between both the countries. Both the countries have fought 3 wars. In order to improve the bilateral ties between both the countries, many agreements like Tashkent Agreement, Shimla Agreement, Lahore Bus Yatra and Agra Conference have been entered. Explain the relationship between India and China. The relations between China and India goes back to Mesopotamia and Sindhu rivers civilization times. Buddhism originated in India has found wide acceptance in China. Many of Indian rulers had cordial trade relationship with Chinese rulers. The silk trade between China and India is discussed in Kautilya's Arthashastra. After the emergence of India and China as two sovereign republics, their mutual relationship were guided by Panchasheela principles. A war broke between India and China in 1962 due to the escalation of Tibetan crisis. After the war, border dispute arose and these disputes still remain unresolved. The insistence of China that Arunachal Pradesh belonged to it is one of the main bone of contentions between the two countries. What were the major problems that emerged after World War II? Denial of human rights, arms race, economic inequality, apartheid, terrorism. What were the events that provided more strength to human rights? The American War of Independence, the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the freedom struggles of India and other countries in the early part of 20th century. What are the major meeting points of agreement in the prevention of nuclear weapons? Partial Test Ban Treaty, PTBT, Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, CTBT, Strategic Arms Liberation Talks, SALT, Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, NPT. How does the UN strive to protect human rights? The General Assembly has mandated the member countries to adopt and protect human rights in every country. In order to facilitate better implementation of human rights, the UNO has provided guidelines along with the Human Rights Declaration. The guidelines included 30 columns. It also calls for the eradication of slavery and gender-based exploitation of women. It asked for the commitment on the part of member countries for the compulsory implementation of human rights. It formed International Human Rights Commission. How does India strive to protect human rights? India has been advocating universal declaration of human rights from the beginning. In the Constitution of India from Article 12 to 35 of Part 3rd, fundamental rights are discussed. India has been advocating for better human rights implementation in all the meetings of UNO. Disarmament is the present as well as future need of the humanity. Why? Disarmament is the only direct process available to bring down the number of arms and elimination of certain arms. Insecurity, fear, instability and threat of war appear due to the arms competition. In order to keep all the civils away, disarmament is the viable option available for humanity. It is also believed that money is wasted on arms and ammunitions in the world.